Hello and welcome to Ask the Expert, an award-winning daily series from 8:30 in the morning till 9 o'clock to help small businesses like you. Now, if you have any questions to ask today, please comment in the live feed. Today's all about being a thought leader. What is a thought leader? Ask your questions live. And if you need any advice, join the official Intuit QuickBooks SMB community group on Facebook. Accountants and business experts are on hand 24/7. Now, during the live session, we're going to be running a poll, so please do engage with it and I'll reveal the results at the end. And that's all about being a thought leader. So today, how to be a thought leader to attract business. Now, don't get scared of that word thought leader. You think, oh, I'm not a thought leader. I used to think, oh, no, I couldn't be a thought leader. I'm not clever enough. I'm not a professor. But actually, it's not as pressurizing as you think. Now, people think that in order to market their business, quite often, I used to think this when I first started my own business, when I left the BBC, that, I have to advertise and I have to do some very complicated and expensive marketing. That's one way of doing it, advertising. But having come from the television industry myself, it's really expensive. You don't have to spend loads of money advertising to get attraction and to win some business and attract business to you. What you need to do, though, is you need to start sharing your knowledge, sharing yourself. So rather than thinking of being a thought leader as something that's pressurizing and you've got to do loads of work and it's difficult, actually, all it really is you sharing your knowledge. Now, you might see that picture behind you there. That's the cover of my book. And I've got a short business book that won an award last year, and it's all about public speaking. Now, I didn't think I could write a book. And the reason I'm mentioning the book, by the way, you will be getting a free audiobook at the end of the show, so stay tuned. But the reason I'm mentioning the book is because that's all part of being seen as an expert. I wrote my book about public speaking because a lot of my clients, a lot of the entrepreneurs that I know, people that run their businesses, were scared of public speaking and getting themselves out there. So my book's got loads of tips, so you can have that at the end. Now, when I first started my business, I did hire a business coach to help me. Her name was Kim Duke, and she was based in Canada. And I always remember Kim saying to me, you need to start becoming a thought leader. You need to be able to share your knowledge. You need to be getting your newsletter out there, writing articles on LinkedIn. And I remember thinking, I don't want to spam people. I don't want to irritate people. If I start putting out posts on LinkedIn every day, all the time, people might think, who's she? Who does she think she is? And I was really worried about being seen as, a show off or spamming people. And she said to me, you're not going to spam people. You are going to offer useful advice. You know how to help people be more confident. You know how to help people get on a panel at a conference. You know how to help people with their storytelling. You know how to help people tell their business story and be able to present themselves in these days online, on television. My background's television and radio and broadcasting. That's my expertise. And I help people all the time to express themselves, to come up with their story, their message. I help people with their speech writing. That's quite a lot of knowledge that I've got that people might want to know about. So she said to me, write articles, short form articles, posts, a couple of paragraphs, tips, useful stuff. Now you might be thinking, hang on a minute, but I'm an accountant. What could I write about? Well, I've actually got a few ideas for you. Whatever your profession is, if you're an accountant, you could be writing about the change in tax laws or what's happened post-Brexit. You could be talking about how to organize your accounts, just like the QuickBooks team help you. But there are whole stories of people that have made mistakes in the past and that we can learn from. Maybe if you're in retail, you could talk about the supply chain. You are an expert. So don't think that what you've got to say is boring or done before or any of that. It's time for you to start writing and posting and, yes, speaking. about your subject of choice. Now, if you have questions about this today, please get them in the live feed. Get your questions in early. I know there's going to be a lot of questions about confidence, about how do I know what topic to write about? I've got some really good tips. My first tip, really, I call it the TLT, the Thought Leader Toolkit. You need to get yourself a toolkit. What do I mean by that? Simply, you need to have a couple of topics, okay? So you need 4 things in your toolkit, a couple of topics. So for example, if you're an accountant and it's something about tax, maybe there's another topic that you're good at. But a really good tip about your topics, how to ... So for example, today, how to become a thought leader. Or another really popular beginning a title of a topic, if you like, would be a number like 3 reasons you need to know about. So even if you just concentrate on those 2 ideas, how to ... So if you're a plumber, for example, how to keep your bills down this winter. Or it might be, you might be an accountant or something, or you might be in marketing. So an accountant might say how to avoid tax, or no, not avoid tax, how to organize your tax in the new year. Or you could be somebody in the creative industries. 3 reasons you need to. It could be in marketing, for example. 3 reasons you need to market over the festive period, or something like that. If you get your questions in, I can answer you quite specifically about your profession, because it's going to be different. It's going to be different for different professions. However, the principle is the same. Get yourself a couple of how-to topics, or 3 reasons you need to know this topics. The other thing you need in your toolkit is you need a headshot, because if you're asked to speak, or you're asked to share, you're asked to be a guest columnist, for example, they will always ask for a headshot, i.e. a photograph. Again, I've got some really good contacts if you want to direct message me, but there's lots of photographers out there. It'd be very easy to find one. Get yourself a decent headshot. The other thing you need in your toolkit, quite simply, is a short biog. So a 1-paragraph CV, if you like, or a really good chunk of content about you. It could be your LinkedIn profile. They always ask, can you send a headshot and a biog? And then you can start being a guest writer, or you might be asked to take part in a conference or a panel. But if you get this toolkit ready, you're ready to go. What you need is like a paragraph about your topic as well. I call it blurb. It's a very technical term we used to use in broadcasting. Where's the blurb? So you've got your topic, you've got your blurb, you've got your headshot, and you've got your short biog. You are ready to roll. You're ready to post. You're ready to be a guest. You're ready to speak. And I would suggest that you do start getting yourself a gig, and you start looking around and thinking, where can I share my knowledge? Is it a client event? Maybe you can create an event for your client. So get your questions in now. But my message to you is, being a thought leader is about you sharing your knowledge. Where can you share? What sort of gigs can you get yourself, i.e. where can you speak, or where can you post and get your articles published? It might be a PR, but it might be on LinkedIn. Where can you share your knowledge? That is simply the message today. And then the more you do, the more you'll be asked, and the more successful you will be at becoming a thought leader, and the more business you will attract to yourself. So let's start with the questions. Thank you so much for sending in your questions today. Please do get your questions in so we can fit in as many as we can. So the first question today is from Christy on Twitter. Hello, Christy. How are you this morning? I tend to move around a lot when I speak in public. Sometimes this can be a good thing. Other times it's distracting. Yes, Christy, it can be distracting. Do you have tips on body language? So you've skipped straight to the gig where you are on a stage speaking, Christy. Well done. I'm sure a lot of us would want to stand on a stage like you and share their knowledge. So I'm really, that's well, first of all, tick, you get 10 out of 10 for speaking on a stage. Okay, moving around when public speaking. very simply, Christy, it's much better not to move or sway or fidget. So if you're standing, I'm actually standing up now. I've got my microphone here, and I need to be in one place. So the microphone picks up my voice from here, and I need to be in shot. So if I start moving around, it will be very distracting. So what I do, and what I found really helps my clients, is if I think about my feet being planted, and that's a simple concept. When you think about gravity is weight, and that gives you gravitas. But the most important thing is that your feet are planted on the floor, and you think solid, strong foundation. It gives you your posture. You start from the feet and you work up. What you really want is your feet pinned down to the floor, planted to the floor, and your head is rising up. That gives you a really good posture. It's really good for your voice, Christy, because when you have a good posture, you have a much stronger voice. But my big message to you, Christy, about moving around, if you want to move from there to there on a stage and you want to go from this point to this point because it's part of your speech, fine. But when you are standing, do not move your feet. And try not to keep your legs locked. There you go. So think about feet first, feet planted. That's a really good tip. Kai on Instagram. Hello, Kai. Good morning to you. Creating a regular flow of content can be time consuming. Yes, it can, Kai. Particularly if you're making long blog pieces or videos that need to be edited. Yes. Any advice on doing this quickly and yet at volume? Okay. Whew. Kai wants volume. So Kai, sometimes quantity isn't what you want, it's quality. What you really want is both. You want quantity and quality. But yes, Kai, I do have a really good tip for you if you want to create a regular flow of content. First of all, you need to be doing this regularly. So even if you spend a little bit of time every day, and I do suggest that you spend a little bit of time every day, it could just be 10 minutes, even just thinking about the content that you would like to share. That's how you get a regular flow. Once you've written a long form article, for example, you could chop that up into little chunks. And one piece of content, so if it's advice about your business or about your sector, then you could maybe cut it up into, say, 5 tips. So you could have 5 little episodes of one large article. Each one of those tips could be a video, could be a mini post, could be something on Instagram. You could post it on LinkedIn. You could have a fresh photograph and repost it. So it's about squeezing the lemon out of your content. I call it squeezing the lemon because you can make lemons. You can cook lemons in many, many different ways. And I think I've talked about this before. You could have lemon pie, lemon curd, lemon chicken, lemonade. You could even have limoncello in the festive season. The point is, you can squeeze a lot out of one main article. See if your task today, Kai, from me is see if you can get 5 little mini chunks out of one article. Go back to some of your old content and refresh it and get a different image and re-version it. That's the way to have lots of content. Malcolm on Facebook. Hello, Malcolm, Facebook Messenger. I do want to be considered a leader within my industry, but overall, I find a lot of what they do cringy. Ooh, Malcolm, it's cringy. The constant posting on LinkedIn. I know, Malcolm, that's how I used to feel. The constant posting on LinkedIn, it feels quite self-indulgent and shallow to me. Do you think this regular posting is essential to raise your profile? And if yes, how do I do it authentically? Okay, I really love what you're saying there, Malcolm, because I think a lot of people feel like that. This self-indulgent, shallow posting. That's what I used to think. But then when my business coach, Kim Duke, said to me, you know, you're not going to post self-indulgent, shallow rubbish. It's not self-indulgent if you're helping somebody, if you're genuinely posting something that's genuinely helpful. So I'd love to know what sort of subject you are an expert at and how you could help people. Because I bet if you told me your subject, Malcolm, I would ask you, whether it's an accountant or whether you're in retail, like, really? So what are your tips on ... Malcolm, what tips could you give me, somebody that doesn't know what you do? Think about how you could help me and genuinely offer me advice and tips. And if you're worried about giving away advice for free, people want to try before they buy. Give away advice for free, just like I'm going to give you a free audiobook at the end of this session, because I genuinely want to help you and give you tips. And if you like the tips or you find them helpful, you might refer me to somebody else. That's how it works. But I'm genuinely offering free advice and tips, just like this Ask the Expert session. You're offering free advice and tips to genuinely help people. Jasmine on Twitter, DM, you mentioned writing a blurb. Yes, a blurb for your expert topics. I actually need help figuring out how to do this in a concise way. I often end up waffling on. I know, Jasmine, so do I. What should I do? Jasmine, don't worry. You are not waffling on. Don't worry. This is how you write a blurb. You get your topic. It's quite difficult for me to advise you not knowing what your topic is, but this is a general rule of thumb. How to do blurb. It's kind of like a mini press release. General rule of thumb. Jasmine, a really good way to approach this would be to think about what the topic is. So if it's how to ... So say, for example, for today, how to become a thought leader to attract more business. So I started, my blurb would be something about, you need the top line of your blurb, i.e. how to become a thought leader. You might want to talk about the problem. You start with a problem first. So for example, I talked about the problem with becoming a thought leader is that I'm going to mention Malcolm again. The problem with becoming a thought leader is that many people, or I used to think it was self-indulgent. It was a little bit vulgar, shallow, spamming people, constantly sharing things. And I felt as if I felt a bit exposed. I felt as if people might not like it. And I didn't want to feel uncomfortable. I didn't want people to not like me or my material. And then the solution was, hang on a minute. You don't have to post vulgar, self-indulgent, shallow material. Hang on a minute. You're actually going to post, guess what? Some really good pearls of wisdom. You're going to post really good articles that are interesting to read, that might be funny, that might be entertaining, and might be really useful. So if you think about that and then think, right, okay, how would I write the blurb? This is the topic. This is the problem. This is the solution. And by the end of this, by the end of my talk, you will learn 1, 2, 3, and maybe put 3 things that the audience will take away. In fact, if in doubt, just think, what will the audience take away from this? And just put that in a paragraph. Don't waffle on unless the meat of your blurb is giving something really, really interesting to your audience. There you go, Jasmine. 1 paragraph. That's your task this week. Get yourself 1 paragraph of how to write about your topic. Anthony on Facebook Messenger. Another way of building your own profile as a thought leader is by engaging with the media, yes, and having TV appearances, absolutely. Do you have any advice on how best to engage these professionals? Anthony, to be honest with you, if you want to go on TV and have a high profile in the media, the simple answer to that is get some PR help. Actually hire a PR person, invest in it, or invest quite a lot of time in PR. The thing about getting some PR help, and you can get a couple of days a month, you don't have to spend thousands of pounds. You can spend more hundreds of pounds, a few days a month with a PR person, PR expert. I've got a few PR people that I work with, and the most successful postings I've ever had in terms of media, when I've appeared in magazines, on radio shows, I was on Island AM about my book, was because I engaged in a PR person. That would be the best way. That's the shortcut to engaging with the media and television. If you were to kind of go from scratch, and if you were to delve into the producers and the people that do the shows, the people that distribute the press releases, that's a whole job in itself, Anthony. So get a PR person to help you, or even just have a meeting with a PR person and they can point you in the right direction. John on Twitter, direct message. Hello, Esther. I naturally speak quite fast. Yes, John, I do too. And this gets worse when I'm speaking to a lot of people. I know, John, I used to talk so unbelievably fast. I'm talking quite fast now. How do I remain aware of my speed and get myself to slow down? John, I hear you. You are normal. What happens when we get a little bit nervous is our heart rate goes up and all kinds of things happen to our brain, our nervous system, and everything goes on fast forward and you start kind of panicking inside, and it's very difficult then to slow down. I've learned to slow down purely because I do this a lot. I record podcasts, I've recorded my audiobook, I record these sorts of shows regularly. So speak regularly in front of large audiences. That would be the first thing. The more practice you have, the better, because that will calm you down. And then the practical tip, the icing on the cake tip would be, I've been told reliably by a very successful voice actor called Debbie Bridge. She told me, if you want to slow down, quite simply, breathe through your feet. Did you hear that? Breathe through your feet. Think feet. So feet are coming up a lot today, standing on your feet, planting your feet. And now we're talking about breathing through your feet, John. So just imagine if you're sitting on a chair, get your feet on the ground and think, breathe through my feet. And even easier than that, John, breathe. And that will slow you down. Practice and breathe. That will slow you down. Don't worry about it, John. Just keep going. Don't let it put you off. Alicia on Instagram, direct message, to increase your reach within the right networks, I feel you have to connect and engage with the right people on LinkedIn. Do you have any advice for the best way to get this balance right? Alicia, LinkedIn is a whole, you could do a degree in it. I'm not a LinkedIn expert per se. However, there are lots of LinkedIn experts that you could probably find that would answer that question far more technically perfect than me. However, in my experience, it really is about having a look at the people that you're linked in with and thinking and considering what sort of network you have there. You can do lots of different searches at LinkedIn. You can find people in certain professions. But yes, I think when it comes to cold connecting with people where they don't know you, be a little bit careful about that. I mean, I think it's about tagging the right people for the right article. My advice would be to actually go and do a little LinkedIn course, because there's loads of courses out there, free, loads of information, and they can tell you how to filter certain professions and things like that. It's really clever. LinkedIn is amazing for becoming a thought leader, because it's got millions and billions of people. So it's really important that you get your head around it. Darren on Twitter, direct message. I'm very shy when it comes to having my photo taken. Darren, I'm sure you look great. And I hate the way I look. So do I when I'm posing. I know, Darren, I know. Any tips on how to take the right professional headshot? Okay, Darren, quick bit of advice here about taking a headshot. I don't like watching myself. I know I do this all the time. I don't like listening to myself, even though it's my profession. I don't really like taking photos, but I've learnt how to do it. And Darren, it's part of your business. If you run a business, you need a headshot. So don't worry about so much. Think about what's more important. Do you need the toolkit? Do you need the thought leader toolkit, i.e. headshot, biog, blurb, really good title? What's more important? Do you need that? Or do you want to just hide under a rock? If you want to get out there and become a thought leader, you've just got to do it. So my advice is, look at the camera, get a photographer, have a bit of fun. You can take hundreds of pictures and you only have to choose one. Have a bit of fun with it. And just remember, the audience doesn't dislike you. The audience doesn't cringe. The audience doesn't hate you. So think about the audience. The people around you in your life love you. So imagine the camera is a loved one and they love you, and it's your job to give that camera some energy. It's a job. It's not a personal character assassination. That's the way to think of it, Darren. Just go for it and practice and find a photographer that you like and that you trust. Hannah on Facebook Messenger. I work in marketing, and actually there's a lot of thought leaders within the space, which means all the top tips I can think of have been done to death. Yeah, Hannah, I know what you mean. How can I break through in a crowded space? Here's the thing, Hannah. The other day I had to go and buy my son some shoes, some school shoes. And suddenly I realized all of the shoe shops were in one place. Now, the first shoe shop didn't have the right shoes, but it meant I could just go across the road, and the second one did have the right size. And I was really thankful that there were about 6 different shoe shops all bundled together. And so because there's 6 shoe shops, not one shoe shop, does that mean that they shouldn't be there? There are a lot of people doing a lot of professions. There are thousands of people doing marketing. Yeah, millions of people doing marketing. But Hannah, they're not you. So it's about, Hannah, do it the Hannah-ish way. Find your style, your voice, your colors, your graphics, your brand, and your style of thought leadership. It's not copying. It's not the same as anyone else. It's the Hannah way of doing it, and enjoy it because it's your take on it. What's your take on the tips? Are they good? Are they bad? You know, how could you liven them up a little bit? How can you make it the Hannah way? So don't worry about the others. Don't look at the others. Don't compare yourself with anyone else. Get out there. If you are in marketing, that is a crowded market, but go ahead and be the Hannah way of doing it. And please don't let the others make you feel, oh, there's too many. You are in marketing. Enjoy it. You're good at it. Share your knowledge, Hannah. Mia on Instagram direct message. I can get tunnel vision ahead of presentation. And I've had feedback that sometimes I come off tense. Don't worry, Mia. Many people do. Are there any telltale signs for when we are tensing up? How can we rectify them? Mia, yes, there are telltale signs, of course. People can tell if you're really tense, like your jaw goes, your eyes might start twitching about. The main thing is that you kind of lose your sense of humor and you're a bit kind of robotic if you're tense. People don't really like tense. People just want you to relax. The quickest tip there, Mia, seriously, the quickest tip is smile. Make yourself smile, because when you smile, you look relaxed, and it also relaxes this part of your face. So it means that people think, oh, even if you're tense inside and you're inside thinking, no, this is terrible. When you're smiling and slowing down, people think that you've got it. So you will never get that feedback again if you smile. I will also say, do it again and again and again. The more you speak, the more you present, the easier it gets, the more relaxed you get. And if before you start presenting, if you do some nice breathing in through the nose, out through the mouth, nice and slowly, that will get your heart rate down and it will help you relax. Just think, relax those shoulders, smile. I've got this. Relax those shoulders. Mia, go ahead and try it next time. You are going to be brilliant. Eric on Twitter, this is the final question, and we're just going to fit it in before the end. I work in the construction industry. It's not clear to me how becoming a thought leader could help me or what I could be posting. The construction industry, there must be loads of stories, Eric, problems that people have, mistakes people make. What is the most common question that you get asked? That is how you could become a thought leader. The most common question. What do people ask you? How much is this? How long does it take? How do I get planning permission? Any of those questions you could write about. How to get planning permission? How long should this take? You know, how much does a usual extension cost or whatever? And talk about case studies and clients. That is the way to do it. Create little chunks of content, little stories, particularly mistakes or problems people have had and how you've solved them. Okay, now the poll results are in, and the poll said, are you comfortable being seen as a thought leader in your area of business? So nobody said they felt very comfortable. Nobody felt comfortable being a thought leader. 100% of you said sometimes you feel comfortable as a thought leader. Well, hopefully you've got your little TLT, a little thought leader toolkit ready to go. So you won't be dreading it and you will be ready to go next time you're asked to speak. And I would urge you to go and get yourself gigs, post more and slice and dice your content and share it. Share really useful knowledge. Thank you so much for tuning in this morning. If you want to get in touch with myself, send me a DM on LinkedIn and you can search for Esther Stanhope. I think I'll have the link to my audiobook in live, going live now as well. But coming up on Ask the Expert on Monday is Eriona from Majors Accounts. She's a chartered accountant and digitalization expert. Tune in for business and accounting advice then. A reminder that if you need any more advice, join the official Intuit QuickBooks SMB community group on Facebook. Accountants and business experts are on hand 24/7. I've really enjoyed answering your questions today. Thank you so much. Have a great day.